So the live stream is up and we can start whenever you'd like.
All right, looks good. All right, hello everybody, and welcome to POAP Masterclass version 1.0. So a few months ago on the Bankless podcast, I heard the phrase, "It's bullish to be understood." And since then, I have officially adopted that as the Logic Beach's ethos. So the more people that understand your product or project, the better it and the community around it will grow and evolve. 1 second. And so it is with the POAP ecosystem. I find it to be a fantastic non-financial use of the Ethereum blockchain. So it is my aim, along with the support of smart people like Unvetica and Superfizz and many others, to help the community get to know POAP better. As POAP is an evolving product, it has many use cases already, and it also has some that we aren't even aware of yet. We haven't discovered them. So the more we all learn and experiment together with POAP, the more the POAP ecosystem will grow. I'm not a POAP expert. I am a POAP enthusiast. I'd like to think that I could answer any and all questions that people may have here, but probably not. There will be a Q&A section at the end of this class, and there's a lot of smart people in here that might know more about POAP than me, so it'll be sort of a non-formal discussion, and we'll be able to ask questions and answer. And so that'll be at the end. That all being said, this class will be informal. If you have a question, please ask it in the Logic Beach Discord. I'll post a invite in the Zoom. It's also in the description of the live stream. We will get to those questions as we can. If they're really relevant to what's going on at the time, I'll try to get to them then. It's worth noting that this is the first iteration of this class. This is version 1.0. You are the pilot audience. So bear with me or us as we learn to teach you about POAP. All right, so let's get into it. This POAP Masterclass represents a snapshot of the entire POAP ecosystem as it is right now. So during this masterclass, we'll go through the entire process of designing and minting a POAP. We'll outline best practices for distribution and how to set up and interact with various POAP-based platforms like POAP Art, POAP.fun, POAP.gallery, and there's a smattering of others. We'll get to those at the end. Or not at the end, once we talk about ecosystem. In addition to those, we will be showcasing pro tips on how to manage these platforms. Without any further ado, I am going to share my screen and give some basic POAP design creation tips and things that I have learned over the course of creating a few different POAPs. So this is the POAP I want to create, and so I'll walk you guys through just some Photoshop basics. It doesn't have to be Photoshop. They're not sponsoring this show at all. I like Adobe, but I found that GIMP or GIMP, the GNU image manipulation program, it's an open source alternative. It is fantastic and can do everything that Photoshop does. And it is also free, works on Mac, Windows, and Linux as well. I'm really familiar with Photoshop though, so that's the one I'm going to use. All right. So most POAPs are circular. It's actually in the design recommendations that they're circular, and they don't have to be circular. I've seen some that aren't, but society has sort of dictated that the regular POAP is a circle. It looks nice when all your badges are circular altogether. So I'm going to start with the shape tool and choose the ellipse tool, right? Like not a rectangle. We're going to use ellipse. We want to make sure that your rulers are obvious, just so you can see where the center is. And I'm actually going to close this window just for a second. Step one, step back.
So just to expand on that while you're doing that, Jamin.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is that just to reinforce that to make a POAP, it's simply a graphic image. So it's not vendor specific in terms of how the actual image is created. So feel free to use any image manipulation software or vector creation software. And to expand on the shape of it, you can make any shape within that circle, but it's important to take away that the circle requirement is how the POAP platform displays your image. So for example, you can make triangles and squares and hexagons and multi-shape things, but it's going to display inside of a circle ring when it's actually distributed, just so that's clear to everybody.
Right. Thanks. So their design recommendations say that it should be 500 by 500 pixels. I personally, and this may just be personal taste, I start with 1000 by 1000 so I can see it real crisp at like scale, and then I'll scale it down at the end. But I start at 1000 by 1000. Okay, so make sure that your rulers are selected and visible. I'm using the Ellipse tool, and it is set to shape, not path. We'll get to that later. Here's your X up here. You can see your X location and your Y location. I'm just going to make sure I'm right in the center on both of those. X and Y equals 500. And I'm going to pull out from the center. It'll make an ellipse, but it won't center it. So this should be the same on Mac and Windows and even Linux. It's the Option key will center it, right? And if you hold the Option key to center, it makes an ellipse. Hold the Shift key to constrain the proportions to an exact circle, right? So right there, you can see I'm well centered, and we got a nice circle, or an ellipse, as they call it. I'm not going to use a fill. You can, but this image is yours. You know, you can do anything you want. I'm just going to make the design I had set up for this and give some design basics. So most POAPs have a nice border. I'm going to stick to that. I'm going to make a nice border. You can see how it is going over the edges currently. I need to move this in window. All right, so down here, I set fill to empty. Stroke is just a black line at this point. I'm going to set it to inner stroke right here. So it bases this where it's going to draw the stroke on the inside of that ellipse that I made. All right, now let's see if I have my POAP colors. That's probably good enough. All right, and for this, I am going to, oh man, this, 1 second, this Zoom window is in my way. I need this to be away. Okay, get out of here. You guys probably can't see the Zoom window, but it's covering up some things I need. All right, I'm gonna create a new layer. I'm gonna put the layer under the ellipse so it draws it behind it. And I just wanna create a nice little visually pleasing background. So I'm gonna use, this is just the gradient tool. It draws from one color to the next. You saw how I'd made that line. This is a preset that I happen to like. It draws from this orange color through some rainbow to that nice, what would you call that, teal? All right, so these edges, we don't want that. I'm gonna go up to this marquee tool. It's set to the elliptical marquee tool currently for this. So we're gonna line up X and Y 500 once again, and hold Option and Shift to constrain to the center and a perfect circle. Now I have selected the center of the POAP here. I'm going to select the inverse and erase the stuff I don't want. And I'm not like a graphic design whiz. I didn't go to graphic design any school or anything like that. My brother pirated CS2 when I was like 13. So I've just been sort of puttering around in it for a long time. So some people in here may be like, oh man, you can do this like this and way faster, but this is how I'm going to do it. This is like a good enough POAP. It's going to be circular. It's going to be in the right size and file size. All right. Wait, go back one step. I want to do that first. Sorry, guys. Knew there'd be one. Just bear with me. All right, that's what I wanted. Now I'm going to use the marquee tool to select the center of this and delete the edges. Okay. Inverse. What did I do there? Inverse. To erase the outside. All right. That's cool. That's the background of our POAP. That should be it looks good enough. Something really important that you see on every POAP out there, not all of them, but a lot of them, a good percentage of them, is text around a circle. And that wasn't immediately obvious on how to do that. So I looked that up recently, and it's actually a lot simpler than I thought. So it's the ellipse tool again, but instead of shape, I choose path and line it up on 500 and 500 again, and draw that circle. And how am I going to do that from the inside or the inside? Boom. Okay. While that's still selected, I'm going to select the text tool and choose this little center square down at the bottom. And type, where we go? Where's my type? I guess I lost it. Sorry, guys. Okay, good enough. All right. I'll fix that in a second. Masterclass V 1.0. Okay. And it's typing on the outside. That looks kind of strange, right? If you select this, it is the path selection tool. You can grab your text and pull it up, center it. All right. Now the easy part. I already drew this. I'm going to pull this out of the oven and just drop it right in. All right. Something like that. This is my guy. He's in there. And just stylistically, I like to bring down his opacity so the background's still there. All right. One thing I want to change is just where that text is sort of not right where I want it. Let's take that and free transform that path. You can always edit your path after the fact if you notice that, hey, my text is like doing something weird. So yeah, good enough. So that's my POAP image. Graphically, it is designed. So to adhere to the POAP image standards, I need to save this as a PNG file or an animated PNG file, but I'm not going to get into that today. I may put out a video on how to create an animated PNG later on. So POAP Masterclass PNG, save it to my desktop. And they ask that it's less than 200 kilobytes. Ooh, hold on, I missed a step. We want these to be 500 by 500. It resized the image to 500 by 500. Now I'm going to save it as a PNG. Sorry about that, guys. So POAP Masterclass PNG, save to the desktop. Smallest file size. It takes maybe 5 seconds to save. All right, that's done. So now that we have that file on the desktop, I'm going to go to, and the POAP website doesn't have like a sitemap where you can easily find where to get here. So I personally, save this in my memory for one, but the other place is just as a bookmark. So even if you can just remember app.poap.xyz admin, that'll get you to here where you can manage events. If you have created an event and it's still mintable, or even maybe not, it'll still be here and you can search it by name and go in and edit it. But for now, we're going to create a new POAP.
So just while you're doing that, just to kind of zoom out on this. So what Jamin just did in terms of the POAP creation, there's really no like visual constraint there. Like you can make the design to whatever you like. That's your creative freedom to have. A couple like pro tips on that is these POAPs are typically viewed on like mobile viewers. A vast majority of them are actually accessed on the POAP application themselves, and they're incredibly small. So as a tip, if you are the one creating the physical design, just be aware of scaling. So don't get too caught up in throwing a bunch of font or a very text-heavy POAP. Usually that's the quickest thing to not be able to see or read correctly. The biggest takeaway is to get capture just a quick visual representation of whatever that event is for, whether that be community call, private event, whatever that may be. So now that Jamin has completed the design, he's exported it into a compatible file. And specifically, that means that it has to be a PNG or an APNG. It has to be 500 by 500 max. It has to be less than 200 KB. It has to be that round shape. If it doesn't confine to those rules, it won't be able to upload during this step, and it'll tell you that it'll error out. So if we're looking at this from like just the timeline, so we've now created our POAP. Now what Jamin is doing is going to the POAP site in order to create an event, which will allow him to distribute that POAP. So go ahead.
Yes, thank you for the description. So this is a one-day thing. It can only be minted during this class. So I'm going to go ahead. It's not multi-day. It's July 1st. I'm going to have it last until the next earliest date, which is July 2nd, because I guess it depends on where you are in the world. It might be July 2nd right now. For websites, I'm just going to put my Discord, the Logic Beach Discord channel is what I'm going to put there. You can put anything you want in there, make it relevant, because when someone clicks on your POAP in the gallery, it's going to go to that website.
So just right. a really good pro tip on that is, say, for example, this was an annual event. So if this was like Consensus 2021, a good practice is to put the event landing page on there, or something that expands or is relevant to whatever this POAP is useful for. So like for the eStaker community, what we do is we'll create a community called POAP, and then we'll put the live stream link in there, or if we've got a corresponding blog post, we'll reference to that. So there's and all that does is just helps provide context to the POAP. It doesn't do anything more than that.
Right on. So this edit code is really important. You're going to need this. They do email it to you in your given email. Since this is a live stream, I may actually stop the share and change this edit code to something else and then hit save. And then I'll start the stream right back over. I just don't want everybody to have this edit code for this POAP, right? They could do all sorts of malicious things. So I'm going to make my own number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my own number and put my email in here and hit save. And then I'm going to start the stream back. Okay.
That's actually a good point. So yep, go ahead and do that. And while you're doing it, and the reason that's important, Jamin basically just said it point blank, but anyone that has that edit code then essentially has access to change, update, manipulate, otherwise the entire event. So you want to make sure that you are being responsible and keeping it secure and not broadcasting that anywhere where you wouldn't want to broadcast or have someone change it, much like your secret keys if you're staking, same type of thing.
Okay, just let me get my email pulled up real quick. With only that email showing, just give me 1 second here. Okay, the rest of it isn't super. Okay. All right, sharing my screen once again. All right, so they will send you a email from hello@poap.xyz, and it'll show you your image, and this is the email that will give you access to edit or do anything you need to do with your POAP moving forward. Down here, yeah, right here, reply to this email indicating the amount of codes you will need for your event. So let me move the Zoom window once again. Oh, geez, where's that at? Okay, so I'm going to reply to their email and just tell them how many people are in this stream. I think 94 or so, 96 maybe signed up. I might go a little higher, but this is another good time to talk about the ethos of POAP. POAP should be Sybil resistant. You don't want one person getting 10 POAPs and trying with 10 different Ethereum wallets and using them in raffles to increase their chances of winning. So I'm not going to create like way more links than I need, right? I think this is probably a good question for people that have done this many, many times. I think there's about 100 people here, but just in case there's more than that, I might make 120 links. So where am I typing? I need 120 links. That's simple. Don't think I need to mention which, but I'm going to do a little overkill and tell them which for POAP number 3629. Okay.
So it is just like Jamin said, a really good practice to plan, give yourself a little bit of a buffer. So when you are requesting the claim codes, which are how you distribute the POAPs for your event, that isn't to say that you can't have additional POAP codes created and minted and distributed. That's more than okay. What you want to make sure you're doing is you then, as the POAP event creator, you're effectively the steward or the oracle to make sure that whomever is being given a POAP is a real and genuine person, and that they one, attended the event that you're hosting or did the action that you're looking for them to do, and that they're in fact real. What you want to avoid is distributing or you're effectively mitigating bots and farmers. So if you have, there should be no reason why a single wallet address would ever have this multiples of the same event. It holds no purpose. But the reason for requesting additional is because that it never fails when you're hosting an event that either there's happens to be larger numbers than maybe what you expected if it's a live stream, or sometimes there are just people that deserve something because they helped out but maybe weren't actually at that event. You want to hand them a POAP. So it's always kind of nice. I always think of it as like a concert, right? So there's like the reserved amount for the general audience, but you kind of always want your VIPs just in case there's like friends or family on the side. That's why you want to have that buffer just in case, to kind of keep everybody happy.
Yeah, so we just created the POAP design. We uploaded it and created the POAP event. And then just now I replied to the email they sent me asking for the number of links to mint that number of POAPs. At this point, that's POAP design creation. The next thing we're going to get into is the actual POAP distribution. And I believe Anvetica is going to take over and show you how to do that by setting up a Discord bot, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. In fact, we're going to do that on Logic Beach's actual Discord server. So let me share my screen here. And what we'll do is we'll run through installing a automated claim code distribution system via the Discord server, and then how to configure that server so that when you are running or hosting an event, your audience can interact with that bot for distribution. So let's see here. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. So right now, to date, POAP has 2 community supplied distribution bots. One that functions and works on Discord, one that functions and works on Reddit. We're going to focus first on the POAP distribution. This is the public repo for that bot. I'm sharing that in, let's see here. I'll do it in the general Discord for now. And I will also share that link in the Zoom chat. Okay. So what we're going to do is, if we look at our guest list here, we can see that there aren't any bots. There's just normal fans of Logic Beach. So what we're going to do first is install the bot to the Discord. And that's actually a pretty simple process. So if we go in the documentation here, step 1, you'll see this link. All we got to do is click that link. It's going to automatically sign us in. Looks like it's not cached. So all we're doing here is signing ourselves into our own Discord account. And two-factor authentication. 1 second. Let's see here.
Oh,
hang on, I know which one it is. I got multiple.
Right. Two-factor is a great idea,
right?
but it often gets in the way. Yeah.
Whoops.
I just want to mention that if it absolutely is for some reason not letting you in, I could.
I'll just do an SMS. That should solve the problem.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, sorry about the hiccup there. So after you've authenticated into your Discord account, it's going to ask, where do you want to install which server specifically, right? So in this case, we're going to do Logic Beach, and we're going to hit continue. We need these permissions. It just allows the sending, receiving, the communication between your account and the bot, and then the ability for that bot to add reactions. So we're going to go ahead and say, yep.
I do just want to add that if you don't have a Discord channel or anything like that, you can actually just create a Discord channel specifically for setting up the bot itself. Once you actually give the POAP bot instructions, anybody can message or DM that POAP bot from anywhere and get the same information out of it with the right passcode.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so here now, you see both, right? You see the Discord and
with the web page, yes.
Yep. Okay. Perfect. So now, if we look at the member list here, we can see that the POAP bot has been installed. So our next step now is, if we kind of zoom out, we made the POAP, we requested the claim links. Now what we're going to do is configure the bot in order to distribute those claim links. So I think we're still waiting on the links, but we can sort of pre-set up the bot. And the way we do that is you need to make sure that your account has or allows for direct messages with bot. So that's sort of a pro tip. Sometimes that isn't always, I don't think that's a default setting. So what you'll want to do is go to user settings on the bottom. You'll click on privacy and security and just make sure that you allow direct messages from server members. So if it's unchecked like this, you won't actually receive messages from the POAP bot wizard. So we'll go ahead and enable that, and that will make sure that everything functions. So now the next step is, in order to call or initiate the configuration of the bot, we just send it, we add it, so we message it, so we go POAP bot, and then we do exclamation point setup, all one word. We hit enter, and then you'll see here this POAP bot direct messaged us. And this goes through a whole wizard. So what we're going to do first is give it the information it needs in order to automate itself. And there's a few, it's a little touchy. So if you're not very specific in terms of how you configure it, it doesn't exactly function the way you'd expect. So we'll just take this real slow. One thing I want to point out here is the hyphen. If you like the canned default responses, instead of doing copy and pasting, you can just do a hyphen. So if we look here, the first thing the bot wants to know is, what channel do you want me to publicly announce that there is an event taking place? So if we go to Logic Beach's channel or server here, he's got a general. I think that's more than good for this test, so let's use that. So we'll just say hashtag general. That's where we want the announcement to be made. And you'll know that the bot successfully takes that input when it goes to the next question. If it has issues with it, it'll error out and let you know. so that it is accepted that we'll announce everything in general. Now what we want to do is give it a start and stop date for when claim codes can be claimed. And the touchy thing here is the date. It has to adhere to this specific file syntax, and it also renders in UTC time. So it's something to be aware of if you have a time-specific event that it needs to be converted to UTC. So in this case, one of the resources I like using pretty heavily is World Time Buddy. So I'm specifically located in Phoenix. The top bar is UTC. We can see that we're Friday, July 2nd, 12:32 is technically the UTC time. So what we'll do is we'll say, okay, I want to start now. So year 2021. It is July. It is the 2nd in terms of the UTC, and then we'll put the time. We'll just backlog it, so we'll just say noon, and it's accepted that, and then we'll just give it a full 24 hours. So we'll say through the 3rd at the same amount of time. So we've got a full 24-hour global period here in which the POAP bot will distribute those codes. Now here's the next step. So we've told the bot where it should be communicating. We told it the window in which it should be communicating. Now what we need here is it's asking when someone claims a code, when someone inputs the correct code word, what do you want me to tell them? So it has this sort of default canned phrase. If you have something specific for an event, feel free to use it. But what you want to be aware of is if you happen to change this text, you need to make sure that you include this bracket code bracket. Otherwise, it will not work. So the only thing that'll do is the bot will send out your message without actually sending the claim code link. So in this case, what we'll do is we're just going to keep the standard or the default response. So I'll do a hyphen. That just means I'm accepting the defaults, and we'll hit enter. And this is probably second to making sure that you're creating the times correctly. This is probably the other important aspect here, is making sure that the code word is correct. And the code word has to be it can be a phrase, it can be a single word, but the catch is it has to be all one. It doesn't allow for spaces. And I believe it doesn't work, or at least it's spotty work when you use hyphens. So it's best to kind of use like a single word or numbers. So in this case, we'll do, for example, let's just do
Masterclass V1.0.
Yep, perfect.
Yeah.
Actually, we're not even going to use the point. We're just going to do
no point. Okay.
We'll just do
V1.
Masterclass. There we go. And I will copy and paste this.
I am currently working on the links. I can't get a hold of anybody
okay,
POAP
no problem.
to admit the links. I just wanted to be candid about that. That is being worked on as we speak.
I messaged Tomas and Patricio myself on Discord, but yeah, we'll have to see.
No problem.
Cool. Okay.
So we've put the claim code word in to the wizard here, and this is exactly what Jamin and Superfizz were just talking about. Now what the last step of this process is, you would upload a text file, which is all of the individual claim codes or POAPs that were minted. So in this case, I think you said it was 125?
120.
120, okay. So what we're waiting for is literally just a text file with 120 individual links because they're unique for each POAP. And we'll just upload that to this wizard here. And well, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, so we'll kind of wait on that. But that's effectively the POAP bot in terms of how you would configure it, how you interact with it. Once we get the claim codes uploaded, we'll go through, we'll sort of switch sides. So this is the back end, the administrative side, how you would set up and configure this as an event organizer. We'll then switch and pretend that we are a customer or user or a guest of this event, and how we would actually claim and interact with the bot in order to claim a POAP code.
All right. I also wanted to mention that I fixed the POAP image. The A is now not capitalized.
That's a good point. So I'm actually really glad that you did that, Jamie.
Yeah, because
So let's say, so in this case, you did have a typo. How did you do that? What's the process there?
absolutely. Do you want me to screen share, or maybe I can just describe it?
Why don't you go ahead and screen share and show? That's a perfect example of why the edit code would be important.
Yes. See, when you're doing these things live, you don't think about looking at your messages. You don't have time for that. Okay. I heard from a lot of sources, or read from a lot of sources, that there was a capitalized A. And I was like, where's there a capitalized A? I looked all over. It was in the image, which it sounds like that's the worst thing, because it's like an image that's been uploaded, but you can change it. If you go in here, I mean, mine's the first one, but just in case it's not, you can search it. There it is. Don't click that, but instead.
I got a hold of DeFi Dude. He is coming to the call, and he will generate for us.
Cool. So yeah, once you click that edit button, you can edit anything about this. I am pretty sure. Yeah, you'll want that edit code that I set. I'm not going to show it to you guys, but you can upload a different image if you needed to. I did real quick. I just went in Photoshop, fixed the A, boom, there he is, all fixed up. You put an edit code in here and hit save, but I'm not going to do that. But yeah, thanks for the people who pointed that out.
So it's actually
crisis averted.
Exactly. It's probably a good idea. We can, if you want to scroll up on this, we can expand on a couple of different sort of tips here while we wait for those claim codes. The first thing I want to sort of address is the start-stop date. So if you put a expiry date in there, what happens is, let's say you hold an event and you minted 500 POAPs, and you set that for, let's say you had a week-long event or a conference and you were distributing POAPs. If you have, for example, at the end, once that expiry date hits and you have 100 POAPs left over, those claim codes rather are now null and void. They've expired. So even if they're still available, that's it. That event has been locked and closed, and it's no longer possible for someone to claim that POAP code. So that's something to watch out for. And then actually, if you don't mind, Jamin, going back to that screen share again.
Yeah, not a problem. I was just checking my email for those claim codes.
No problem.
I guess I'm here anyways.
The other thing I want to point out is the template. So this is a sort of non-obvious feature on its own, but what happens here is when someone goes to, this will be probably more easily explained when we see the claim code page, but what this template field is referring to is you're able to customize what the claim code page looks like. So when someone clicks their claim code, they typically see a default POAP branded page with the POAP, and then there's a field in which to put your wallet address to claim. This refers to that page, so you can actually say you have a specific branded event. Maybe you're a company and you have very specific branding guidelines. You can change the claim code page so that it adheres to whatever those branding guidelines are, to kind of tailor it to either that event, your company, or whatever it may be. So that is specifically what that template's referring to.
Yeah, I actually didn't know what the template was for, so thank you.
Yeah,
I just always looked at it standard. Cool. All right.
DeFi Do says that email has been triggered, so the claim codes should be available.
I see them. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you for your help, Super Fizz. And thank you, DeFi Dude. All right. I'm saving the links and I'll get them to you real quick.
Perfect.
Wrong place, 2 seconds. Here we go. All right. You should have them in Discord. So when they mint the links, they'll just send you an email. It's just a text file and one link per line, 120 separate links. you'll feed that. Well, I'll let him do it.
No, that's fine. All right, so what I will do is share my screen again here. So we're going to actually redo the whole bot here. You'll see this last message that the setup expired. After a certain amount of time, the POAP just says if you haven't fully completed it out, it just times out. So we need to call it again. So I will do POAP bot !setup. And we'll just go through this real quick.
Are there any issues with setting it up with the exact same information? Like, can you use the same claim passcode?
So that's actually a really great question. So in this case, because it didn't process fully, we were able to use the same claim code or code word. So let me...
So it just backs out. It's like, no, it didn't happen. So
yep, exactly.
Cool. I remember in my early days of trying to host POAP events, I made a lot of mistakes with this exact part of the setup.
Okay, so now we're at the link section. So I'm just going to, I've got the links saved locally on my machine on my desktop. I'm literally dragging and dropping that file into Discord here and hitting upload, and it says done. We're all good. So just to circle back on that, on what Jamin was talking about, this bot works sort of globally. It isn't specific to Logic Beach's Discord server in the sense that if I, Unvetica, am setting up a campaign and I use the code word Masterclass 1, and Jamin sets this up using the same code word, it won't process. It'll say, nope, there's already an event here. It's using the same code word. Try something else. So it does have to be unique enough in the sense that it doesn't conflict with an already existing POAP campaign. Now, that being said, I believe the way the bot works is that is only applicable to active campaigns. So all previous expired campaigns don't conflict with those code words.
I do just want to mention, someone mentioned in the comment in the chat that I think you might have put June 3rd for the end date.
Oh, I think
6, I think, instead of 7. Yeah.
Let me fix that. Well, actually, we can test it. So to test if that's incorrect, we can actually just put the code word in here into the POAP bot, and it probably, yep. So this is great. This is a perfect real world example.
Of an error, yes.
Yep.
Good.
So if we look at the, let me go back to the GitHub repo here. In the documentation, it actually expands on what these errors actually mean. So if you're like, I know for a fact I set this all up. Why the heck isn't it working? I don't even know what an X means. That's totally okay. The bottom here, so it's exactly what happened here. I put a backdated or in the past date, so it's expired and it's no longer valid. So that's exactly what this X means. Likewise, if you ever get a smiley face emoji here, the thinking guy, that just means that the POAP bot has run out of claim codes. So if you have 200 claim codes, and the 201st person that goes to get it, they're going to receive that message. So I'll just do this real quick one more time. This is good to see in real practice.
Absolutely. Because this is going to happen to you when you do this.
Yep.
It happened to me more than once.
I think it's technically the second, right? Oh, we'll just backdate it again. We'll just say the 1st at noon, and we'll say it's good through the 3rd.
Yep.
Default Masterclass 1. Oops. So this is another great example. Is it interesting enough though? This does actually confirm. So I was mistaken. So even though this is an expired campaign, it's still held up on that duplicate word. So
right.
Know.
So Masterclass V1.
Sure, let's do that.
Yeah. So that also goes to show that that POAP bot, just like he said, is universal. It's everywhere.
Yep.
You can tell if you say or give somebody, how do I describe this? So if they type in a passcode, it will give them the POAP associated with that passcode. Like they could just guess a word like dog, and boom, there's a POAP that somebody used if it was still open, right? So
exactly.
Okay.
Where did I download these? Here we go.
So if anybody had ever used Masterclass 1, it wouldn't let you use it.
Correct.
I think that was the point I was trying to come across, and
Yep.
didn't quite make it there.
So so now we've created our POAP, we've minted it, we have claim codes, we've installed the bot, we've configured the bot for distribution. So how do now users interact with this in order to claim the POAPs that you've set up? So sometimes that can be a little not intuitive.
Well, I want to jump because I am testing Masterclass V1 and it's giving me the out of claim codes notice.
Is it?
As when I say I'm testing it, I'm trying to snag that thing really quick.
Let's see here. Jamin
Says you need new codes, but DeFi Dude is still on the call. And again, this is fantastic because we're learning.
Yeah, no, this is great.
To be honest, do you guys know that I've never configured this bot? I've always been like, hey, can you do that?
So they have to be unique codes from the ones that we used before to break something?
No, what I want to check here is, can you actually go back to the event, the POAP event itself? I want to verify those dates before we mess around with the claim codes.
The start date was 7/1, so July 1st. The expiration date was August 1st.
Okay.
I didn't change that, or maybe.
Do you want to just look at it for 1 second? Because I could have swore when you were editing the
sure
image itself, I thought I saw invalid date or time on there.
Okay, yeah, good point. I'm gonna go ahead and just hit save with that because I may have not put a date in there when I edited it. 1 second, there we go. Okay, I just hit save.
But yeah, I think it
may have taken invalid date and given that, and it's like, I don't know when that was.
It could be that, but I didn't think, but it looks like I've never seen it function this way, but there's a possibility that I guess it invalidates the codes that were uploaded, but we'll see. Yeah,
this is a really good example of what this can be like, because the first time I ever used this POAP bot, I was a little bit frustrated, and I didn't know exactly what was going wrong. So
why don't let's just to keep things moving, let's actually formally request new codes via DeFi Dude, just so we can test that out. And that is while you're doing that, it is probably good to mention here that these aren't actually like, well, let me actually check this before I say this out loud. No, this is okay. So this is like a community supplied bot. It's new, and it's you can see that there are some usability features that would be nice to have in order to curb some of these sources of friction. So if that's something that interests you, if you're on the call and you're like, oh man, I could totally clean that up, that's something I could totally bite into, you're a developer, feel free. Like one of the pillars of POAP is that it's open source and trustless. So you can and are more than welcome to fork the repo, make the applicable updates that you see fit, and make a pull request. So that's something to be aware of as we go through sort of the different aspects of the POAP ecosystem.
Yeah, you know what would be a good addition to that bot alone is just for it to show you what you have entered and have you confirm all of that at the end, just like a confirmation, like, hey, here's what you entered. Is this all correct? Okay, I got new codes.
All right.
So let me get those to you real quick.
Perfect.
No, not sending back to him. All right, there you go.
Okay. Download these real quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I definitely updated the event with 7/1 out to August 1. So it should be
Perfect.
good.
No, this is great. I'm so happy this is happening during this course, because all of these things are, it feels like it's sort of like,
It's how you become a vetted POAP event holder.
Exactly.
You have to request new codes at least twice. Well, let's say once, because I just did it once.
ooh, we may have to do a different, let's just do this. Let's just do POAP. Oh my goodness. POAP Masterclass.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, we're gonna upload the links. Uploaded. Now
There are like 50 people trying desperately to like.
Claim the POAP.
It worked.
Did it? There we go.
Yes.
Take a second.
Sometimes the POAP bot has to think a little bit. All
It
right,
might
cool.
be time to mention the Firefox bug.
Yep. So, okay, just real quick. So now we've got it set up. Now, if I'm a user, right, so what I would do is when you are initiating the wizard, you have to do it via calling it out and then setting it up with the exclamation setup. If I'm trying to claim it, what I need to do is directly message the bot, which are two different things. So we're mentioning when you at somebody. Direct messages, I have to go into the user itself and then message them directly. So in this case, you would let your audience know what the code word is. In our case, it's POAP Masterclass. I'm just going to send a direct message over here, which I already did. And I got this claim code. And there's some built-in intelligence here. So since I've already claimed it, it's not going to give me another one. So I can't just sit there and get multiple POAPs. Now I am using Chrome right now. So if I click on this claim link, it's going to bring me over to the, whoops, do a different screen here. Okay, and this is the claim link page. What's asking for is either my ENS or Ethereum wallet address in order to deposit that NFT, that POAP. So what I'm going to do here is just put my full wallet address in here and then just hit claim. And it's going to go ahead and process for a second. And then we should be able to look that up in my wallet and we'll be able to see it. Now, one thing to note here is when we referenced the template when creating the POAP event, this is that template. So you'd be able to change the colors. I don't know.
That was a question, actually. So can anybody make a template?
Correct. And everyone, I'll have to get the link. I think there's a separate edit link for templates, and you can go from there. But this is the specific page in which I'm referencing, or that page rather is referencing in terms of template. The other thing to note here is in terms of claiming this, there's a known bug at the moment where if you're using Firefox, you'll see an error message. In fact, let me see if I can produce that. It might not be able to since I've claimed it already.
I can show you what it looks
Oh,
like.
if you've got a screenshot, that'd be great. But
Yeah, Firefox is my main. So this is new because I used to be able to claim all the time, no problem. And then I started seeing this. I was like, what's wrong with POAP?
Yep.
But yeah, this is what I got originally.
There we go.
And they even tell you how to rectify the situation. Try using Chrome or Safari. I was able to claim it in Safari, no problem.
Yep.
I know that may be a little annoying for people that might only use Firefox. You might have to download Chrome.
Yep. Also, Brave
in the meantime
also works as well, so you can use that. I may be jumping ahead a little bit here, but specific to the POAP wallet, the app that's out there now, there's a new feature that in the application itself allows you to claim POAPs, and it asks you for a 6-digit code when you're in the application. What that 6-digit code is referring to is, let me share my screen again here, is this right here. So it might be a little difficult to see on my browser, but there's the full URL here. It's app.poap.xyz/claim/ and then there's a random 6 digits. It's numbers and letters. Those 6 numbers and letters are what you would put into the POAP app in order to claim it on the mobile interface. So to extend on that, say you're adamant about only ever using Firefox and you don't ever want to use it any other browser, feel free to download the iOS or Android POAP app and claim it directly into your wallet. And not only will you be able to claim it, you'll be able to instantly view it then, your whole collection, which is good to know as well.
Cool. So that was POAP distribution using the Discord bot. It isn't perfect. It works very well. It just, as far as like human interaction goes, it maybe could use a confirmation page. That's my professional opinion.
Yep.
I'll put in a pull request. There is a Reddit bot created by a guy called bad_investment. Maybe there's an S at the end of that, investments. I think that there might be a bottleneck in actually getting it set up, and it is you have to depend on him. I talked to him. He told me I could mention it. He also said the throughput, if there's a lot of demand, is going to be slow because, he's one guy. And I think he also mentioned that there is possibly another Reddit bot in the works that's more similar to the Discord bot where anybody can do it. It's to be seen. I'm sure it's on the horizon from what it sounded like. So yeah, because not everybody uses Discord. I'm fairly new to Discord myself.
In fact, what I'll do is let me put the link to the Reddit bot
Thank you.
in the putting it in the general chat, and I'm also putting it in the Zoom link here. And the reason we're not going to specifically go over the installation and configuration of this one today for this live stream is simply because the way it's constructed now is it literally requires that you set up a web server, you have a dedicated instance where you download all of the configuration and Docker images, and at that point you have to configure it and connect it to your Reddit account. And at that point, then you can interact with it, similar to what we just interacted with on the Discord, where it goes through a wizard. You set up the same details, start, stop dates, what's the code word. And rather than interacting on Discord, you'd hit it up on Reddit through a direct message. But this bot and the way it's constructed warrants its own walkthrough video because of how involved it is. We just want to make sure that those watching on the live stream and on Zoom are just aware that it exists, so that if and when you are setting up a POAP distribution, you don't have to give these things manually away. There are tools out there in which to help you pragmatically distribute these claim codes.
All right, so that is POAP distribution. And it sounds like a lot of people may be claiming these codes outside of this, like through YouTube and others. So we may need to claim more codes. I don't know. But for now, like we can get to that at the end. For now, we're going to move over into talking about the POAP ecosystem. So the various different, like I don't want to call them programs. You had a word for it. You mentioned it. It's
I like to refer to them as pillars.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they're definitely the way POAP is. If we were sort of take a snapshot of it today, the way it's sort of organized is each tool is the reason I like to call it some pillars because they all support the overall ecosystem, but they're all sort of their individual things. They can definitely interact with each other. They build off of each other, but interacting with one doesn't necessarily mean you're interacting with all of them. In fact, this is actually a really good segue is to jump into POAP.gallery, because just what you were mentioning, Jamin, you're like, well, okay, so we've created our POAP, we've minted it, we've distributed it, but now you're kind of like in the dark, right? So it's like you want insights, you want analytics. What is the state of my event? How many people have claimed it? How many claim codes are left? Just answering basic questions. And that's exactly one of the things that POAP.gallery does, and it does very well. I don't know if you want to go ahead and show that one.
Yeah, can do. Go ahead, screen share here. So it's actually just POAP.gallery.
Mm-hmm.
I want to point out a user who says that the link has already been claimed by someone else, and I have my thoughts on that, but I don't. They can be a little accusatory. Do you guys know anything behind that?
My experience has been that it's a spectrum. It could just be a timing thing. I know when there are, like, especially during live events, sometimes the maybe like a double claim, like if people are claiming real quick, I would maybe, if I don't know, I would try refreshing maybe, and if that still happens, we can manually send over a claim link.
Yeah, because at this point, it says only 52 have been claimed, so there are still 70-ish claim links left. 68 exactly, I think.
So this is good. If you want to actually go back one, we can explain kind of what this is
sure.
in a general sense. So
I just wanted to are they all claimed or not? Yeah, because we were mentioning we might be in the dark, but you can use that. You can use this, go find your POAP and see how many have been claimed. All right, so you can cover POAP.gallery.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna. So this is POAP.gallery. What this represents is if we had just received the claim codes and everything was just minted, and we were to go to find the POAP Masterclass, you can see it in the bottom right hand corner now on Jamin's screen. We actually wouldn't see that. The only time that events show up is after one or more claims have been processed on the blockchain. That sort of initiates it as a live viable event. So after one or more claims have been claimed for that individual event, it'll show up here, and that signifies a live event. So if you want to go ahead and click into ours, we can just see like some top level details. We know what our start and end date is. We're referencing what our website is at the time. This is all the information we set up during the initial POAP event. The supply is how many have been claimed. So of the 120, 110 have already been claimed, which is pretty great given the short amount of time.
That changed fast.
Yeah, it did. The power cool. is an arbitrary rating in the sense that it doesn't mean anything other than it's the sum total of, so an individual, if we look at jamescarnley.eth here, he's got a power of 177. All that means is that he has 177 POAPs in that wallet address. So the POAP.gallery power rating is the sum total of all of the POAPs within that event. So it just kind of gives you, I kind of like to know that. It's kind of fun just to see, who's very active within the community, who's maybe new. It's fun too, because when you start, you can even drill into individual addresses and see their POAP collection. So if you go to like superfizz.eth or anyone for that that on this list, for example.
I'm gonna do you. I'm gonna go.
Oh,
to you.
sure, yeah, that's funny that I'm on there. So you can even drill down to individual wallet addresses and see exactly the contents and all the POAPs that they've collected over the years. And that's sort of cool because it gives a insight into like where are they hanging, what communities are they a part of, what have they done. So it can definitely give you a real good peek into kind of a lot of things. So
there's Dr. Doofus's terrible POAP design.
I was trying to actually figure out if I could send that away. I'm pretty sure we can send POAPs, but I've never
Scroll
done
down so we can talk about Dr. Doofus's. Please, for the love of everything that is good and holy in the world, if you ever create a POAP design, just do a little better. It is hilarious. I love Dr. Doofus, but okay, I'll be quiet now.
I just wanted to go ahead, please.
So actually, if you scroll down just a little bit, you'll see the painting party POAPs. Actually, just want to point this out as well. So this kind of expands on the design constraints we talked about when Jamin was actually designing the POAP itself. So you'll notice that the physical design has sort of a border to it that's non-uniform. It's got a unique shape, but it's still being displayed in that circle. That's what I meant by that. And you can see a visual representation of it. So feel free, if it's a gem, if it's an oddball shape, you can still do it. It's just going to display in that POAP circle. That's all that means.
I believe that this is actually a square PNG. And like you said, it's just giving the circle.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. I do want to mention something that was tripping me out, and I might have tried. So it's showing that 110 are supplied. I saw that James Carnley ETH was at the top, and then I scrolled down and saw his name again. I was like, wait a minute, you got 2, but I don't know what was going on there. That was weird. An error in the page. I don't know what that was. I was like, how did you get 2? You're gaming the system somehow. But no, James Carnley, you're in the clear. That was something weird going on with the webpage. Sorry about that.
No, I was surprised to see that many claimed as well.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on there. It was a glitch.
Yep.
All right. Is that POAP gallery for us?
Yeah. So there's really not a lot of depth to POAP.gallery. It's more just sort of top level analytics and insights. I find it useful just to kind of peer into things as you're creating events. It's also good to have in your back pocket as an event creator, so that if you're running an event and you're getting a lot of community feedback, like, hey, my claim link isn't working, things like that, that's usually the first place I go to, because that'll confirm, because I've already known how many claim links I requested. That'll confirm if I actually am out, or if there's something wrong with the bot. It'll help me troubleshoot the scenario at the time. So just something to be aware of. But yeah, that's POAP.gallery.
All right. So the next pillar of the POAP ecosystem that I want to talk about is POAP.fun. And at its face, POAP.fun is a raffle system that uses POAP badges as raffle tickets. That's all it is. It's very simple and effective. And while we're talking about it, I'm going to create a raffle. But before I do, I just want to show you that if you scroll down, you can see active raffles. And I think if you keep loading them, you can probably see which ones have finished. That might take longer than I have time. You can go down and see results of raffles. I don't know. It was probably the next loading that would show.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm going to create a raffle. I don't have a bunch of Rocket Pool to give away this time. But I did mint an NFT that somebody might like.
Woo! All right.
So this is the POAP Masterclass raffle. All right, it's done. I'm not going to change that. I'm joking.
So I want to just
real
quick here, because I love keep maintaining the breadcrumbs here. So like we've created a POAP, we've minted it, we've distributed it. We've shown how you can troubleshoot using POAP.gallery. POAP.fun is exciting because it's the first platform that we're getting into of the POAP ecosystem that now we're using the thing that we distributed. So this is the first platform, and we'll see once Jamin goes through the whole process here, that yes, he's creating a raffle event, but this is the first tool that requires the user, in order to participate, to actually use their POAP. So you can limit, he's actually setting this up now, I'm kind of talking in front of him, but
yeah, please.
You're effectively, so a good use case here is when the eStaker community holds community calls and we want to give away a seat for the next trivia game. What we'll do is we'll say, okay, only those people that are eligible to participate and compete for this limited seat in the trivia game, only those holding previous community calls can enter and are eligible for this thing. So we can start to see, over the threshold of learning here and peek into like what this thing can actually do and why it's, why is this valuable to even go through all of this work to create a POAP and distribute it and do these things. Well, this is the first one. This is why we can set up campaigns like this to interact with and make exclusive events.
Yes, thank you. So when he was talking, what I just did is I went and selected the POAP that I just minted and that we all claimed. And now that I'm thinking about it, I might want to wait a little while before, well, I can set that into the actual design of this, give it a little bit of time so this raffle has time for people to claim the POAP and then join the raffle. So I'm going to set the raffle to actually start, give it some time. So it's probably near the end or during the Q&A section of this POAP Masterclass. So I selected the POAP Masterclass version 1.0 POAP. I could select more. I'm not going to right now. Keep in mind that when you're setting up these POAP raffles, that once you decide which POAPs you want to use as raffle tickets, you cannot change that. As far as I know, unless something's changed, you cannot go back and say, hey, I want to use different or more raffle or POAPs as raffle tickets. I found out the hard way with a POAP raffle. I was like, oh, I want to add this other one. This guy said I didn't use this POAP. I wanted to, couldn't. Okay, raffle date, 1st of July, UTC -5. Okay, I always mess this up. I always mess up the time. Should we set this into maybe 30 minutes from now?
Click now and it will give you,
Oh,
I
now.
think it will show the current time. Yeah, and then
I
you can
love
modify that.
I didn't know about now. Okay, so let's do 30 minutes from now, which would be just 2044. And you can always, if you don't know exactly when you want it to happen, you can say decide raffle time later. That is something that you can change later.
It's also important to note that the time you're setting up, that's just the time, like if you want to just set it and walk away from the raffle, you can, meaning that once that time hits, the raffle starts automatically. But once you create this event, as the event owner, you can arbitrarily start it at any point before that set time.
And that modified time did not stick, Jamin.
Oh, it didn't. I see. Thank you. That would have been stupid. Nobody would have joined. For a priceless NFT. I wonder why that didn't stay.
We've got a question in the chat. I think it's about the weighted chance option. You guys talk through that?
Yep.
Yes, I'll describe that. So if one person had, so say I allow 5 separate POAPs to be used for raffle tickets, a weighted chance means that if somebody has all 5 of those POAPs, they can use all 5 of those POAPs as their tickets. I have that deselected right now. So if I had 5 POAPs as being able to be used for the raffle, but didn't select weighted chance, they could only use 1 of their 5 POAPs to enter the raffle. That is correct, right? Does anybody?
That's correct. So to just expand on that, so if we had 5 eligible POAPs here and we just did the default, what that means is if I have all 5 of those eligible POAPs, only one of those is going to be entered into the raffle. So I only ever have 1 chance or 1 seat or opportunity for the raffle. If I decide to do a weighted raffle, if I have all 5 of those, I actually have 5 opportunities. I get to enter all of those POAPs into the POAP event. So it also gives more reason to want to collect more POAPs as you go. It just provides you more opportunities as these raffles pop up.
Thanks. So yeah, another thing that you can't change later is the prizes. If I remember correctly, once I put this in there, I can edit them before I've actually finalized and created this raffle. But once the raffle has been created, you can't change the prizes.
That's correct.
And I'm not going to require an email for my participants. Whoever wins the #1 spot, I'm just going to send this NFT directly to that address. But there are times that it's useful to get their email just in case they didn't watch the raffle and they're like not interacting at all. You can reach out to them like, hey, you won, so that can be useful. Can you think of any other use cases for taking their email for a raffle?
Yeah, so a couple pro tips here. So let's back up slightly. So the contact address there, it's actually really good to point out that once the raffle is over, there's going to be a link that says contact the event. I forget the exact verbiage, but basically it says, contact the event holder in order to claim your prize. So if you don't want, say, for example, your private email spammed with 100, 200, 300 people asking where their prize is, I would recommend maybe doing like a burner address or a temporary address or something of that like, or maybe even if this is a big corporate event, a dedicated address like, poap.fun at xyzcompany.com, something like that. So that's what that contact address is specifically going to be used for. So just be aware of that. In addition to the checkbox, so having the email required for participants, I would say by default, it's probably fine being left off. That's typically if you're doing, for example, I like to enable or disable that feature depending on what the prize is. So for example, for this raffle specifically, Logic Beach is raffling off an NFT, which is a digital good. He can airdrop that to anybody because once the raffle starts, he has access to the wallet address that won, so he can simply take that wallet address and just airdrop the NFT. But let's say, for example, you're raffling off a physical item like a hardware wallet or something to that effect. You're going to want to be able to reach out to that winner and coordinate and get private information like a mailing address or some other information to be able to contact that winner directly. That's where you would want that enabled in order to facilitate that communication after the raffle has completed. So that's what that would be for.
Yep. Yeah, like he said, in this case, I'm not going to require an email. You guys can just join. All you have to do is connect your MetaMask to the page. I'm not going to join the raffle, but if maybe Anvetica, you want to join the raffle so you can show what that looks like.
I'm 100% joining this raffle.
Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing and you can.
Do you want to drop that URL in the your Discord?
Sure, will do.
That'd be great.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's another thing. Sometimes I would just go through and change the number and see what raffles are going on before I knew you could just go and look through the active raffles. But yeah, you get a little number there. That's your unique raffle number. This is the 317th POAP raffle. All right.
One of the things I've learned about setting up raffles is because of game theory, people like to not share the raffle because they want to increase their odds of winning. I've discovered if you add in your description an extra incentive for people who share it publicly. So for example, if you win and you can show evidence that you tweeted about this or talked about it on Reddit or on Discord and show me a link, then I'll give you an additional X whatever as the winner. And so many people who participate will want to increase their odds of winning more by sharing it. And it's good to offset that. Because people really do have that tendency to be like, "Oh, this is mine. I'm keeping it private."
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Good point. I really appreciated you did a raffle and included that. I don't know what to call that, like metric. If you can prove that you shared it, your prize will be better. So yeah, cool.
All right. So do we see the
yes
screen? Perfect. So one thing I want to point out here is, let's join it first. So if I stumble on this raffle and I want to enter it, or I see it advertised somewhere, All I'm going to do is let's just kind of take a look so we can see that it formally starts in at least 22 minutes. We see the prize here. We can see the eligible POAP. And then if we look a little bit lower here, we can see all of the current entrants into the POAP raffle here. So we can see that I actually have a eligible POAP. So I'm going to go ahead and join the raffle. I don't know if this is going to display or not, but I actually have a MetaMask signature.
I see
here.
it.
Okay, great. It's asking
Yeah.
for it's a signature request. I'm just going to sign that. And then we can see that after the successful signature, now I'm entered into the POAP raffle. And Jamin, did you want me to briefly go over, at least before it starts, how like the relevance of this number and how that relates to the...
Please do. I've heard it, and I've even explained it back to myself, and for some reason I still don't know.
Sure. So this will probably, I'll go more into detail once the raffle starts, because I think it'll help to have the visual reference. But you'll notice that once you've entered into the raffle, this is actually really cool. So you'll see the eligible POAP and then your ENS or wallet address. This fix or this visual update to include ENS addresses. Big shout out to Colfax of the Steakhouse. It's one of the sort of arms of eStaker. He made this pull request so we could see all of your ENS names, which is really cool. But below that, we've got this unique, I guess, raffle ID. So that's unique to your entry into the raffle. And what happens is eventually when this starts is, I believe it's the gas, it's either the block number, I think. Well, and it'll display that. And as blocks process, the last number of that block will eliminate or maintain your spot in this raffle. I know that sounds like a lot of garbage right now, so I promise it'll make more sense once we get the raffle started here to actually compare what those block numbers are. But real quick, if you don't mind me keep going here, Jamin.
Yeah, that's fine. I wanted to share my Discord link. People were asking for it, and I keep forgetting to.
Perfect. The other thing here to note is, and what we were referencing to, so as we were watching Jamin set up the raffle, he was mentioning a few times like, oh, you can't edit this, you can't edit that. So let's specifically look at that real quick before the raffle starts. And as the event holder here, if you look at the top of the raffle, you'll see this this edit raffle button with the pencil. We're just going to go ahead and click on that. And this is, again, where it comes in handy in having that 6-digit edit code. So only presumably the event holder should have this information. Do you want to just...
Do you want me to share that to you?
Yeah. That'd be great.
Yeah. 1 second.
No problem.
Let's see, QR links. Proton Mail doesn't automatically... Oh, it's in spam. That's not right. All right, got the code. It's on its way right now. How is subjective? There you go.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. All right, so I'm just going to put this in.
Oh, no.
Oh, well, it's fine.
Everyone just be benevolent with your power.
So we can see here, we're able to edit some of the basic things, like obviously the title, the event summary, description details. You are, it looks like, able to edit it looks like most of this has actually been updated. So you're able to change the time. So say, for example, you set it a day too early, go and do that. You can change if it's weighted or not. So you're like, again, this is either one or many. That's that option here. And then
it's been updated. You can change the prizes now. That's
great.
awesome.
So you
That's
can
news to
update.
me.
In fact, let's just do.
I'll send the loaner NFT. Okay, that's funnier.
There we go. So we'll go ahead and update the raffle, and there we go. So now we've got 2 prizes eligible. So that's really cool. That's, in fact, we all just learned that live in real time. So, and this is actually a really good example of why we say this is a snapshot of what POAP is today, because this thing changes and morphs and grows constantly. And you can see that POAP does a very, very good job of being of listening to their community. When there are multiple voices saying the same thing, they're very quick and responsive to making adjustments and optimizations. And this is one of those optimizations that you can see they've already made, where we were preparing for these things to not be editable, and they've changed and update those. So that's great for POAP and great for us. And then one quick thing here, because I input the edit code here, it assumes rightly that I am the event creator. And this is what I mentioned before when Jamin was setting up the event, where yes, there's an automatic countdown, and the raffle will kick off with no interaction from he, I, or anyone else. But say, for example, we wanted to start this early, we would just hit the start draw button, and only I and Jamin would be able to access that. So that's all I got for that one.
Okay, so we have 15 minutes before the POAP.fun raffle triggers. So there's a few things that we can kind of only talk about because I don't know exactly why. I can't set up a POAP.chat event without contacting someone at POAP directly. But we can still talk about them because it's an interesting use that will probably become more available and easier for just end users to use. That's not personal stuff. POAP.chat is a chat room you can create a chat room that only people holding a specific POAP can enter. I think that explains it in its entirety. They're like tickets, get you to this chat room. Interesting. I made that POAP, but I don't remember making a POAP.chat for it. Oh wait, what is going on here?
I think they're all. I think it's just
these are all my POAPs. Maybe I'm wrong. Things have changed. I can totally create a POAP.chat event now. See, like you just said, POAP is changing and kind of changing faster than I was aware. I don't exactly want to go into this because I've never done it before. Maybe we should. I don't know. Let's just see it. So I'm assuming that what I'm doing is I chose a random POAP out of my collection and I'm building a chat room based on who else has it. That's cool. Okay, so anybody that has ever, or that validated for the Madasha testnet last year around this time, or maybe later, can enter this chat room. Cool. Okay.
No,
nice.
I think what we could do is, why don't we, because it is there's a lot of different details to it. Do you want to go ahead and explain and introduce POAP.art?
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know what this page looks like at the moment. So this doesn't.
Yep. So just to give some background, POAP.art is the newest pillar of the POAP ecosystem. It was actually first debuted during the Berlin network upgrade party that the EastStaker community held. And if you go to POAP.art right now, you're not going to see much. It's effectively just a coming soon landing page. However, there is a live public beta, and that is accessible at sandbox.poap.art. And that's exactly what Jamin is sharing right now. And you can see some canvases. Now, before we get too deep into this, because there's such a cool platform, there's a lot to this. This also reinforces the draw as to why you would want to collect POAPs, and one of the things that are capable with POAPs. And specifically, what I mean by that is, especially even though this is in beta, it's publicly accessible. You can access it. As long as you have an internet connection and POAP here. But what makes it unique is you can't enter unless you have a specific POAP. So there is a sort of bar to entry. And that's unique in the sense that it reinforces obviously the want to collect, because it gives you access into different platforms. Now, because this is a beta, this is a little unique. So what you'll do is join the POAP.art Discord page. And if you want to go ahead and just drop that link into the Zoom chat and your Discord, that would be great, Jamin, too. And what happens is every week or every couple weeks, there's a new canvas that's debuted on POAP.art, and there's a new POAP that allows entry into that canvas. So I believe Jamin just did it real quick, but he claimed using the Discord POAP bot that we just set up before, gave them the POAP claim word. Now he's claiming his POAP, and that will give him entry into the platform. So if you want to go ahead and kind of take it from there and go in, we can...
Will do. It turns out I had actually claimed that earlier and forgot about it. So when I asked the POAP bot for it, it was like, what? What are you, Sybil? Okay, so I have the POAP for week 26, which is like it's a open beta that anybody can join and just experiment with the platform. So it already has detected my address holds the POAP. Otherwise, you would connect and then it would look through your POAP. Sometimes it can take a second. But it's already detected that I have the week 26 canvas, which is what we're looking at. I have that POAP, so I'll sign, and it's basically signing in. And you can place, it's 1 pixel per second that you can place on this canvas. And alone, it doesn't sound that amazing, but when you get 100 or more people into a room doing this, some crazy stuff can happen. So if anyone remembers r/place, I always liken it to that because it's a very similar platform, except that your ticket is the POAP that is required for that canvas, right? And yeah, you can see some people are starting to use bots. It's definitely bot work. That's crazy.
So you can see that this is an open platform. Anyone with the eligible POAP can place pixels, which is really cool. So that there's some very fun possibilities you can do here in terms of collaborating with different artists and planning out different designs and making your own designs. And just to expand on what Jamin was talking about in terms of bots, this is another extension of why POAP is so cool, because it is open source. You're able to have or anyone that has a programming background can build off of and make their own tools that function with POAP. So in this case, there actually is a GitHub repo where you can download a POAP.art graffiti bot, which allows the automation of those pixels being placed. So you can make a pattern, image, whatever that may be, upload it to this bot, and it pixelates it and then automatically places pixels for you. Now it's a very advanced feature set, but what that's all to say is that these things aren't sort of walled gardens. You definitely have full access to let your imagination run wild and really kind of make things your own.
I want to say real quick, Ramirond is a contributor to Steakhouse, and just my quick commercial for Steakhouse. It's a place where developers of all skill levels get together to work on ETH and ETH staking projects. So you might check out a guy named Colfax, or just Google for Steakhouse and find their Gitcoin grant. But they're just a great team of people who do this stuff for fun. So that's my commercial.
And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Fizz, I believe you can confirm this, but if that's something you're also interested in contributing, but you're not sure in what way to Steakhouse, I believe Steakhouse has its own channel on the ETH Staker Discord as well.
Yes. So, and they have their own Discord, and they're really just looking to bring more community to development in staking and really just Ethereum in general. So you don't have to be a skilled developer to join them. You just have to be willing to learn with them.
That's awesome.
I do want to ask a question now that we're talking about Steakhouse, just real quick. I am learning and I have a lot of questions. Is that a place where I can ask questions?
Yes, it's definitely a great place to ask questions. I would say I wouldn't consider it a primary source. Like it's, I love stuff like Khan Academy for learning. But if you're looking for a beginner project, they can help you find that project and then give you nudges along the way. Their role is not directly education. Their role is involving community in development. So
Cool.
that can be a little gray, but I definitely, if you have any curiosity, reach out to Colfax or just walk into the Steakhouse Discord and see what they're about.
Cool. So I guess we don't want to hammer them with basic JavaScript questions like I did. Thank you.
It's a good place to meet up with someone.
I'm thinking like, don't use them as just like your Google. Go to Stack Exchange and get yelled at over there first and try to figure it out on your own.
If you want to share your screen with POAP.art, there's just a couple features I want to point out here. Okay. So you saw, if we focus on the bottom right, one of the a few things that I've seen catch people up is when they're finally able to enter into the canvas and they sign and participate, and they're clicking on the canvas and nothing's happening. That's because you explicitly have to pick a color on the color palette.
Right, it defaults to white.
Yep. So, and the part that tricks people up a little bit is you have to pick a color that isn't white, but then you also have to pick a sub color. So you'll notice that when he hovers over a color, there's also a sort of a secondary menu that pops up. Only after you've selected a color will you be able to place one. So that's something to be aware of.
Yeah.
And then in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see a sort of mini dashboard specific to the canvas that you're working on. So if you, or if you just click on the week 26, I think if you click on that.
Oh, down here.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what you can see is some of the stats on the canvas itself. So we see that this particular canvas is called week 26. It's just a means for POAP to see what iteration of the canvas is running in relation to the beta. But we can see how big it is. It's almost just over 4,000 pixels by 4,000 pixels. We can see specifically which events or POAPs allow you access. This is no different than how you set up a POAP.fun raffle, right? So you're choosing your audience and eligibility into this. So you could have as little as one. You could have as many as a few hundred, depending on how inclusionary you wanted to be. And then one of the things I really like to see are the live stats. You can in real time see who's online, who's dropping pixels, how many total pixels have been dropped, which is crazy to see. Almost just over 170,000 pixels have been dropped. And the leaderboard is actually kind of cool because you can see how many individual pixels a wallet address has placed on that specific canvas, which is really neat. And it looks like they've updated that too. So I think if you click on that button next to it, it should open up there. I bet it's a wallet scan. That's cool. So you can see the leaderboard and then see the contents of their wallet, which is really slick. So this is just like the POAP.fun raffle, which is really cool. So I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, a few more things now that you mention it. You don't have to go over here and select color every time. If you're helping someone with something and you want to, you can right click it and click this little ink dropper and get that color immediately, right? And another thing you can do, you right click, if you notice, you can see the person that placed an individual pixel, which is cool. And I would bet that this person with 60,000 placed pixels is using Romy Rand's bot.
Yep. And that's actually
not him, but
a really good call out there in the sense that, let's say, for example,
there he is.
This, if you wanted to zoom out there. So let's say, for example, that those big images are actually, instead of a bot, let's imagine that these are multiple artists coordinating and collaborating together. And you're like, well, how can you do that? That seems so difficult, especially being how large this is. Well, if you zoom into that image, one of those big ones, and place your cursor anywhere or just drop a pixel, you'll notice that the address bar in Jamin's browser is changing. So the URL is staying the same, but what you're seeing is a latitude and longitude of the location of where he is in the canvas. So what he can do is share that information with whomever he's collaborating with. So they can say, look, I'm taking this section, you take that section, and you can sort of orient yourself in this canvas, which is just a little pro tip for if and when anyone's interested in doing something like that.
Yeah, and I actually did detail how to use Romy Rand's graffiti bot. There's a video in my YouTube channel. It's just basic setup and how to use it. And you can share that bot setup with multiple friends or set up multiple instances on one computer, as long as you have addresses, enough ETH addresses to all collaborate with one another. And so you can create that not 1 pixel at a time, but say get 10 friends, that's 10 pixels per second at a time.
Absolutely.
We have 1 minute before the POAP Masterclass raffle. I think there's one other thing that we can mention, or I guess two. There's POAP.vote, where people that have a certain raffle can, I guess I can show that actually. I think you can make that.
Yeah, let's do POAP vote, and let's real quick, we can do it after the raffle too, but I want to make sure we cover POAP.delivery.
Sure. POAP.vote is a polling system that uses POAPs as tickets to be able to enter and answer a poll. I'm actually probably not going to create one. It's very simple. Like the title and the description about what the poll is about, and then the options. It's very simple. It looks just almost exactly like a Twitter poll. You just, to be able to place or make a vote in this poll, you have to hold the POAP that was specified, or POAPs. And I guess maybe I'll create a poll and ask for comments and feedback on the POAP Masterclass version 1, so we can make POAP Masterclass version 1.1.
There you go.
So yeah, there's 10 seconds until the POAP.fun raffle. So let me jump back over there. Not created, but we want that. We don't. We want 317. Oh, and it's just starting right now. I think, yep. All right.
Cool, there we go. All right, so this is the start. In fact, if you, is it possible for you to do like a side-by-side?
Doing it right now. I saw what you did that one day, and awesome. I was intrigued. Let me just drop this over here so you can see that. You can see, you can describe this while I get this going if you want.
Yep, so, right, so the POAP.fun raffle has started. We can see that obviously because the counter is gone and now it's replaced by a block number. And what we're looking at here is on the left hand of Jamin's screen, we see two boxes. The top one is the leaderboard. The bottom one is the last block used. So what that means is the leaderboard can be a little deceiving in terms of like what that means. So we can see, in fact, it looks like I even got knocked off here. So of the eligible POAPs, or the people that entered into the raffle, on the right-hand side, we can see that there's a block number used. And what's happening here is once a block is used, we can see it on the bottom of the screen, and the last number of that block corresponds with the last number of your unique POAP address. And if that block number is part of your POAP number, you get knocked out. So that's how it eliminates you from the raffle itself, ultimately displaying first place. So we can see that, for example, what was the first block there, if you want to scroll about? Okay, so we can see that it was 7. So now if we scroll up on the leaderboard, you can see that the first few,
Sorry.
No, you're fine. The first few addresses that were knocked out all ended in 7. So that's how it's really powerful because it shows you how fair and randomized the raffle actually is. It's not picking anything, picking usernames or looking at wallet addresses. It's simply corresponding used blocks with the corresponding random number associated with your entry ticket. So if you look at the second one, so what was the second used block? So the first one was
I believe
7.
it was 2. Yeah,
Two,
7,
okay.
and then it went to 2, and you can confirm that here the second one was 2, and I guess the third one would be 1. Go up, and you can start to see all the ones that were cold.
So what happens
Sixes,
here is there are times, especially with really large raffles. So for example, you'll see this a lot with like weighted raffles when you're allowing multiple entries per wallet address. You could have upwards of 800-900 different entries into this raffle. So what happens is once that first number has been completely used, say we've gone through 0 through 9, it then goes through the second number and then the third number. So say for example, say there's 10 remaining entry tickets, but all 4 of the last 3 numbers are all 444. So that and then each of the fourth numbers are all different. That'll be the determining number of who gets the next place. So just something to be aware of. Nothing you have to interact with or know explicitly as it's going. That the system takes care of it all yourself. The fun part is just kind of watching and seeing how long you can last. And there's always a fun little we'll see. I always really get a kick out of the graffiti at the end. So
I feel good about how this is unfolding.
So I like, you can see now, like you just mentioned, almost all of these end in a 4. I see 4s and 5s. All of these POAP numbers are 4s and 5s. So it's going to start looking at the tens place to start culling. Once, like if all of them are the same, it'll look at the tens place and so on and so forth until they're all gone. And I think some of the times that it really gets stuck, I can't say get stuck. It depends on block times, which aren't consistent, as we know as Ethereans. Right now, it took 60 seconds to mine a block. And I don't think anyone was cold. I guess it's interesting. I guess the last block, what did it end in? Your explanation really helps because I've heard this enough times that I think maybe this is the time that I'll understand it.
Yep. Well, that's actually a really good call out, right? So the last block ended in 6. The 12 POAPs that are remaining in the raffle itself, they didn't have that number. So nothing moved, nothing changed. That's why.
Ooh,
and then we can see in real time, that's a great example. So the last one was 6. So of those 12, looks like we have 7 remaining. So those were all cut off by the 6, which is really cool.
Yep. Super Fizz, you might get one.
Yeah, you might take this. You got a really good shot.
I control the master node, yo.
Oh my God. I really do love to see ENS names in these. It adds an element of like excitement when they're just random. I don't know. It's not as fun.
Yeah.
That's my shameless shill for ENS. Go get an ENS name. It's worth it.
As much as I want to win, I don't want to win because it seems a little greedy. Like I love for other people to win things, but I will gladly accept this POAP. I'm sorry, this raffle. Oh, it'll be the your NFT. I love your NFTs.
Yeah, my POAP or Logic Beach POAP Wisdom NFT.
You know, Bendorf got that one that you. Yeah, I gotta get that framed.
The physical drawing, yeah. I want to recreate that drawing on the iPad.
I've never cared so much about. I know. I'm always like, I'm not gonna win.
That's funny.
Somebody's gonna get to be in second place, though.
Look, so they both have 24, and I have a 0-4. So if it's a 2 next, then they'll be knocked out. But if it's a 0, I will win. I'm sorry, the other way around.
Oh, you just got it.
Oh,
you don't even get to be second.
Congratulations to both people who are up there.
New Star and OJ Hernandez.
This is actually a great POAP raffle example because we can see this, just to point that out again. So these last 2 are fighting over it. They both have ending in 2-4. So
it's an 8-2-4 and a 7-2-4.
So we're waiting on that 8 and 7, which is so cool to see that. Normally it doesn't pan out that way.
Yeah, that's literally the only difference is the 7 and the 8.
Woo!
There you go. OJ Hernandez, you are the winner.
All right. Love seeing ENS on top. That's great.
Yeah, that's cool. New Star, you were second.
So cool.
That's as rare
And
as being
so,
first, or even 50th.
The
for that
logical
matter.
thing we do every time there is a winner is go and find out, like, did they really deserve it?
Yeah, let's sneak in. So let's take a peek at number one there.
Yeah, I'm trying to get out of annotation mode. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Oh, wait, I don't want to see this. I want to see their POAP and their collection. What
Well,
am I
and you're
doing?
looking at second place rather than first place, by
Yep.
the way.
Oh, yeah, good point. I'm going to do this manually because for some reason I can't figure it out that way. So that's app. Whoa, I can't even type. app.poap.xyz, scan, /, and then you can paste any address and see what POAPs they have. That's the manual way. Hey, you know what? I think they do deserve it. It seems like they're getting into POAP,
Yeah, it looks like they're a lot.
and this is exciting.
There's a Rick and Morty POAP?
Get Swifty.
Why don't I have the Rick and Morty POAP?
Oh, that's funny.
Did I
I've
see
been doing
another?
my life all
Yeah,
wrong.
they got my POAP. Sorry about the annotations. All right, so at this point, we've gone through, it's been 2 hours, I think, almost. So we did POAP design and creation. We talked about the technical requirements. I gave you a crash course in graphic design, which is what I like to call good enough. We went through POAP distribution. We talked about how to set up the Discord bot, fell into some of the pit holes, which was great because they exist. There are pit holes. Mentioned the Reddit bot. It exists. There may be another one on the horizon, but if you guys need the Reddit bot, r/bad_investments is your man. We talked about some pillars of the POAP ecosystem. POAP gallery, fun, chat, vote, art. We didn't talk about POAP delivery.
Why don't you just go to it real quick because it's
worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
So
For anybody that's made it this far, I don't know what you've earned, but my respect at least.
So POAP.delivery is unique in the sense that it's sort of I don't even know how to describe it. It retroactively allows you to claim a POAP based on your participation in a specific event. So, for example, if you want to scroll down, I think there is a, keep going, I think it's towards the bottom. I want to use one as an example. There we go. So we'll do the pixel dropper as a good example. So during the eStaker Berlin network upgrade live stream, a portion of that call, we debuted the POAP.art platform. And during that live feed, we had a handful of artists place pixels and come up with and fill up an entire canvas. Well, what we did to celebrate and reward pixel droppers is because anytime you drop a single pixel, your wallet address is captured and part of the blockchain. And what you then can do is retroactively reward participants for, I guess, participating in that event. Mm-hmm. And what that means is we can scrape all those addresses, and then I can say anyone that participated gets this specific POAP, and all you have to do is go to POAP.delivery and put your wallet address in, and if that wallet address matches the master list of addresses that was found on the
this is the master list for
POAP.art canvas.
Yeah.
You'll then get awarded that POAP. So this is another means in which to distribute your POAPs, in addition to the Discord and Reddit bots that were showcased here today. Now, that being said, it is something that you need to coordinate with the POAP team. It isn't something that is made available or in the sense that anyone can just set it up. It does require some coordination on the with the POAP staff. So what I would recommend, if that's something you're interested in doing for a large event, reach out to them directly. They can be found on their Discord, and I believe the link to their Discord is on. I'll put it in the. Right now put it in the Zoom chat, and I believe it's already in Logic Beach's Discord server. But just something to point out that I know the testnet POAPs for Ethereum were distributed that way. I know they're like the Genesis validators were distributed that way. So there are a lot of high value POAPs are distributed that way. So if you feel, so the reason I like to bring it up too is because that page is constantly being updated. There are new POAPs that are being added. I always like to check it out in case I may have inadvertently participated and done something that I didn't know a POAP was even being available. So check it out. You may have unknowingly participated in an event where you can get airdropped. So that's why I want to point that one out specifically.
Cool. Thank you for explaining this. I've only interacted with it as a user. That's not true. That's not true because I did this. So yeah, like you said, I did have to coordinate with one of the staff at POAP to get this Friends of Dev pixel placer. So I provided them a list of addresses that I scraped from that canvas for anybody that placed a pixel on a specific piece of art. They got that POAP. So yeah, but there was I did have to contact staff directly to do that. That may change in the future as this becomes more and more community controlled or owned or decentralized. That is the direction I'm sure that they want to move that in as well.
Absolutely.
So at this point, thank you for staying this long. It was a learning experience for me, especially. I hope that you guys learned something. We can start a Q&A section here live if you guys want to stick around. Otherwise, if you don't, if you have questions that you want to ask, you can ask them in the Logic Beach Discord and I'll get to them, or anybody. This is a community effort here. I'm not the POAP expert. I am a POAP enthusiast. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to unmute and ask away. Yeah. Started at 7 o'clock. It's now been 2 hours.
I just want to say you guys absolutely killed it. Like, the organization and thoroughness, like you guys took someone who was aware of POAP and gave them the whole spill, and it's going to be on YouTube. So it'll be great to split up and link to. So great job.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. It sounds like people maybe don't want to ask a question, maybe in the chat. Okay, maybe not. Hey, if there's no questions and if you don't want to ask it live, feel free to enter it in the Logic Beach Discord. And if you're not getting a response there, the POAP Discord is a great resource. They have a section specifically for questions. And if you wanted a overview and didn't get like the basics of POAP, I also have a video on my YouTube channel. Advetica also has a video that covers POAP to art and maybe more. And if there's any more demand for POAP explainer videos, which I'm sure there is, there may be some on the horizon as well.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, if there's nothing more, thank everyone for coming. This was fun, and I learned a lot more than I expected.
Awesome.
Bye, we can stop. Yeah, we can stop the live stream now.